Hey everyone, what is going on? My name's Archer Live, and in today's video we're going to be talking about what's next to Payday 2 on consoles, and specifically the Xbox One and PS4 versions. Those of you who've been around for a while know I've done two of these before. It's kind of turning into a little mini-series where every time there's a big update for Payday 2, or at least something that adds new content, I can go back and talk about what's coming next in terms of what we're missing on PC, little features that we need catching up on, all sorts of stuff like that. So we're going to get into it, cover all the things that we're missing, and then what I think will be in the next update after that. Now, before we get into this, I just want to let anyone know who's playing on Switch and hasn't seen last week's video to go and check it out. Covers all the information regarding what we know about the Switch when I think we'll get an update. There isn't a great deal of information to go off, but I've made the best predictions I can, so that video is there for you guys to go watch if you are interested in what's next for your platform. But today we're focusing on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, following on from the new update that came out earlier this month. And as you all know, the most recent update for consoles didn't add a great deal in terms of content. It was only a few heists and a character that we weren't really too fussed about. The character was something a lot of people wanted, but the heists aren't the most requested ones, so there's still a few of those that need to come. And on top of that, there's some PC content I haven't discussed in the last episode of this, so we got to catch up on that as well. We'll mix it all together, and hopefully I'll make some reasonably accurate predictions as to what will come, when we'll see it, and, you know, go from there so you guys have an assumption on what comes next. However, I think the best thing to do in a video like this is, instead of saying about what's next, let's talk about what's missing to start with, which is stuff I've already discussed, but it's very good for context and establishing the bigger features that we still need in the game. So, 4 things: Safe House, Crime Spree, Team AI, and Safes and Skins. 4 heavily requested features, 4 features we're hoping to get very soon, but 4 features we still don't have on Xbox One and PS4. The Safe House was released in October 2016, Crime Spree came out in spring 2017, Team AI around the same time. Shortly afterwards it was released as a beta in spring, and then came out a month or so later as a full update, and Safes and Skins came out all the way back in October 2015, although they had a few bits of tweaking here and there, you know, not making it microtransactions anymore, making it so you can actually earn the stuff properly. That was added in 2016, I think. So there's a few bits from the last few years that we're still missing in terms of key features. So those 4 things are key to note. We'll talk more about what I think will come in those later when we've covered everything else, but I thought that was a good place to start. But in terms of the PC DLC roadmap, we're hovering around October 2017 at the minute. That's roughly where we're up to if we don't count the features I just discussed. So we're missing the World War II weapon pack, which came out just before then, and then from the October's Lock and Load event in 2017, we're missing only the Diamond Heist. Everything else from that 10-day event has now been added to the game, apart from the story mode feature, which I don't really see coming over. I'm not too sure about that because they need to add side jobs as a result of that, and also by deduction the Safe House, so it's all kind of changed together. So I don't imagine story time will come anytime soon, if it comes at all. There was also a ton of new achievements added, but I mean, they don't really add many to consoles as it is, so I don't imagine most of those will come over, because I don't see them adding 300 just at the snap of their fingers. I just don't really think that makes sense. But those are the things we're missing from October. Following on from that, in the rest of 2017, we're still missing the Reservoir Dogs heist that came with the Union 5.56 rifle, and also the Brooklyn Bank heist. We're not missing the compact 40mm grenade launcher that came alongside it, because for some reason they gave us that and not the heist. I mean, it's better than nothing, but those 2 heists are what we're missing, and the additional weapon on top of the Diamond Heist and the World War II weapon pack. That covers everything in 2017 that we're missing up to now. Now, everything I've just talked about there is coming for free. Whenever we get it, it will be released for absolutely nothing, and anything I talk about in 2018 will be absolutely free. However, there is one 2017 DLC that I haven't covered now that you guys are probably expecting me to talk about. Well, guess what? Here it comes, H3H3. Whether you like the DLC or not, whether you like H3H3 or not, they're coming, and they should be coming in the next update in theory. Now, this is the only paid DLC sold at £4, $5, you know, you can equate it to whatever your currency might be. But that was sold in around about November, I think it was, 2017. I might be wrong there, but it was somewhere towards the end of 2017 after Lock and Load. So that is the only paid DLC to expect. So everything else is going to be coming to the game for free. But if you're still looking for one last paid DLC, that's the one, and hopefully we'll see it very soon. Now let's cover all DLCs and events that were released in 2018 for PC up until this video was made. So anything beyond here, obviously, I'm not going to be able to talk about, but anything in the first 6 months of the year and going up into yesterday's Flamethrower update is something to talk about. So we're going to go into it from the start with Spring Break 2018. Now, Spring Break 2018 is a weird one, because when I look back at it, I always thought that it didn't really add that much, but I've looked into more of the details, and overall there's quite a few quality of life changes and different things to add cosmetics and all sorts that actually do work quite well and are quite nice to the game, but we're going to go through and talk about everything in detail. So, first off, Breaking Feds, a stealth-only heist that's set in the same kind of FBI area as Hoxton Breakout Day 2 was. Separate area of the building, but all whole same colour scheme and design and all that stuff. Stealth only, you have to get through, and it's from what I've heard, it's a pretty decent heist. It's not one that's replayable all that much, because it just kind of gets a bit like repetitive and monotonous after a while. So it's good, but not if you want to keep going over and over again. It's better for lore than it is for gameplay, so there's that. Also, a lore-heavy, loud-only heist that was released at the end called Henry's Rock. Again, if you're more into the lore, you'll like it a lot more. I'm personally really interested. There were a lot of plot twists in that heist regarding the whole stuff with Kento, with Bane, and all sorts of other stuff. Not going to go into any more details than that in case anyone doesn't want any more spoilers, but there's been a few revelations and they're yet to be explained. Hopefully in future heists in PC we'll get some answers, but it's really, really good for lore. It kind of reminds me a little bit, though, of a mix of Beneath the Mountain and Boiling Point, Henry's Rock, because Boiling Point has the things in the medical chambers where there's huge walkways all around the room where cops can just shoot you, and it's ridiculous how much they can shoot you from all different angles. It's really hard to fight back. Henry's Rock's got that, but it's also a warehouse very similar to Beneath the Mountain, so, you know, there's similarities to draw from a couple of heists there, and it is a lock heist, so, I mean, for sure it's going to be quite similar, so, I mean, I can't really draw any more better conclusions than that. So, those two heists are quite fun if you like lore, as I've said. Maybe not so much if you're not a big fan of lore. They're not going to be ones you're going to want to replay over and over again. I feel like Henry's Rock is one you would replay a lot more than Breaking Feds, though, so that's something to bear in mind. But this update added a lot more in terms of quality in life and cosmetics and weapons and all sorts along those lines that actually is really worth discussing, so we're going to get into that. To start with, hostages that you take will now go around corners and move around and follow you a lot easier. For those of you who take hostages as often as I do, especially in stealth, and you look at how they move around buildings, it gets really frustrating because they'll just stop in corridors, take about 10 seconds to process where they're going, and then start moving, and then just get stuck again 2 seconds later. So it's basically improving that, making sure they can move faster, go around different walls and corners a lot faster. So that's just a small little quality of life change, but something that I'm really, really happy about. And other stealth players will be a lot happier, and even some loud players, who knows. But a feature that did really interest me was the ability to use night vision on some of the masks in-game, 2 of which are already in the game now, Cloak of Sand and Bat Stuff Crazy. I ain't swearing, this is a PG family-friendly video, you should know that by now. And also the new one which was added alongside this event called the Bright Light, I'm pretty sure. All 3 of those can have night vision triggered on them, so if you want to go around in dark areas and feel like you need a bit of a boost, and for some reason you don't know how to use your brightness setting, no, I'm being sarcastic, but basically what I'm trying to say there is that people who have their brightness really high don't tend to notice a difference. They tend to think that it's better without the night vision. However, some people will find it useful. Some people will prefer using night vision. Some people want to go for, like, I don't know, a Splinter Cell feel in Payday. Don't really know why you go on Payday for that, but regardless, it's that. So it's quite a handy feature, and just having that as an option with some of the masks is quite cool. So if you want to take in some night vision goggles and then, you know, mix it up a bit, you can go with that, and that could be quite handy to go for. So if you want to bring those along for a particular heist, go for it, see how it goes, and have a good time with it. But alongside that, there's also a melee weapon called the Tactical Flashlight, which when you charge actually turns on. So that's apparently a lot more handy for having a light to look around. So that's probably what I'll use more, because at this point, melee weapons don't really make much of a difference. You're going to shoot the guards that see you in stealth. So using that will be quite useful, and I look forward to being able to use it to, you know, search around dark corners and stuff. Especially on streams. For those of you who watch my live streams, you know my situation where my TV brightness is a lot darker when I'm streaming compared to when it is normally, and the times when I'm just playing a game and I'm going, I can't see what's going on, but you guys can see it fine on stream. So that'll save me in those situations, so that's quite handy, but that's just a streamer's issue. But that barely scratches the surface. There were a ton of new cosmetics. For instance, there were 49 new patterns, 33 new materials, and 100 colours added with this event. Supposedly, if you log on PC, you get 11 of the patterns, 10 of the materials, and 21 of the colours just randomly given to you for free. I think one of the materials might just be auto-unlocked for everybody, I'm not quite sure. And the rest just unlocking card drops as normal, all of which are free, which is really cool. Having that many patterns, materials, and colours hopefully will be really good. I've looked through the colours, and I do feel like there's some colours that we do need added to the game, so hopefully the ones that we need will be thrown in there and, you know, give us a bit more customization options. But the materials are really where it's at. I'm hoping that the materials will give us quite a few new ways to customize masks, because a lot of the materials these days just kind of, they look cool on the actual material like pattern, where it's like, this is what you're going to put onto the mask. Then when it goes onto the mask, it just kind of looks a bit bad. So, you know, hopefully we'll get less of that this time. But alongside that, we also got 30 new akimbo weapons, and it's a very interesting one the way it was handled. To start off with, there are weapons that everyone wants to akimbo, like the Bronco revolvers, the Judge shotguns, Jacket's Piece. Personally, for me, the Chicago Typewriter I thought was a weird one to make akimbo, but I can't wait to see that in action, because I'm a big fan of the whole, like, typewriter, like, drum gun style weaponry. I really like that with the 1920s stuff, so that'll be really cool. But the thing to note is, first off, they split all the akimbo categories into their own little subcategories in the inventory, so you have, like, assault rifles, SMGs, and then akimbo SMGs, akimbo pistols, akimbo shotguns, and, you know, and the like of all that. But what was weird is that a lot of the ones that were made akimbo are DLC guns, such as the Jacket's Piece, if you own the Jacket Character Pack, which obviously on console doesn't matter to us because we got it for free for waiting for the DLC for so long. But take, for instance, the Biker Heist. Now, with the Biker Heist, you get the CR-805B submachine gun. It's one that I use quite a lot. I'm quite a big fan of it, and it's really good for my Mayhem Impact build if you watch my build back in the day when I made that over a year ago. So, you know, there's really good benefits to that submachine gun. That was made akimbo with this update. However, you don't have to own the Biker Heist to get the akimbo version of the gun. So basically buying access to the heist on PC, before Ultimate Edition became a thing, but even now if you don't buy it, basically you get the Akimbo variant for free, but you only pay for the single variant in the secondary, which is just a really weird way to go about it. Overkill were asked about it and they said that was their intention to do that. But I really don't quite get why, because it kind of feels like a bit of a slap in the face to anyone who bought those DLC guns. I mean, hey, free content for anyone who can't afford DLC is fab, don't get me wrong, but for the people who actually spent money on that stuff, it's a bit weird. I don't really know. Personally, I don't care. The more people get for free, the better, but I know that's going to grind a lot of people's gear, so it's a very, very strange one to do. But regardless, if you don't own stuff like the CR-85B submachine gun or any other DLC guns I can't think of off the top of my mind that do become Akimbo, then you'll get them for free as Akimbo variants. So something to look forward to, and it might give you a very good idea of how those guns play out and whether you want to get the actual DLC tied to the single version, you know, to use that as a secondary. So, you know, it's a win-win. It will work quite well. But other than that, we got the Mega Duke mask, which was added for free, so hopefully console will see that too, since we now have Clover and Sydney added to the game for free, and Rust added through card drops. I will just say I've heard from people that Rust isn't dropping at all. I heard one person say they'd seen it in-game, but everyone else seems to think it's bugged, so, you know, hopefully that'll get addressed. But there are a few Mega masks now, and I didn't actually think we'd ever get the Mega Heister masks, because a lot of them are locked behind DLC you can't even get on PC anymore, or they're exclusive to conventions, sorry, my English is awful. For instance, the Clover mask was released with Payday Con 2016, so if you went to Payday Con, if you went to wherever it was set, I can't quite remember where it was located, but if you went there, you got a PC code for the mask, so it's very exclusive to PC players who made the effort to go out and go to Payday Con, whereas console players just get it for free. So I really didn't think Overkill would do that. I thought that would annoy PC players, but it seems to have just gone under the radar. Maybe the PC players don't care enough. But, you know, it's just an interesting one, which opens the possibility for maybe more Mega Masks going forward. However, the ones that came with the completely Overkill pack, which I said is a DLC you can't buy anymore, which was Mega Dallas, Houston, Wolf, and Chains. I don't think Hoxton was in there. I'm not too sure. But those 4 masks were Mega versions. I don't think we'll get those because they were part of a DLC that's just locked off now. But regardless, Mega Duke, I don't see any reason why we won't get it. It was released for free. Everyone got one for free. So hopefully that will come over. And then alongside that, we want to talk about the Immortal Mask, the Immortal Python Armor, and the Immortal Python Weapon Skins. Now, 2 of those 3 things are part of features we don't have at the minute. I'm well aware of this, but it was basically unlocked on PC for getting 1,000 achievements on Payday 2. There are way more than 1,000 to this point, I'm pretty sure. But if you get 1,000 achievements, you get the Immortal Mask, which is like this kind of like Grim Reaper type. It's very similar to the Baba Yaga mask, but a bit more robotic with glowing red eyes. There's also the Immortal Python Armor, which is black with like a python on the back, I'm pretty sure, or something along those lines. Looks really good. And the weapon skins are a little bit underwhelming. It's pretty much black on all the guns with a bit of patterns on that show under the light. But, you know, other than that, it's not really a great deal. But you get all 3 of those for free for 1,000 achievements. The weapon skin can go across all weapons. Now, obviously we don't have the armor skins because Crime Spree isn't out yet, and the armor skins came alongside that. Obviously, we don't have the weapon skins because we don't have safes and skins yet. That update has not been released on consoles yet. But the mask is something we could get. However, I don't see us getting any of these because it's for 1,000 achievements on PC. So unless they change the restrictions and say you have to get all achievements on console to unlock these, they could do it that way. But the problem is, a lot of the achievements on PC that unlock a particular mask or material or color or whatever it may be just come box standard for free if you buy the DLC for Payday 2. You don't unlock them through achievements because Overkill haven't worked it to be that way. It's really strange that they just couldn't get that mechanic to work, but because of that, I don't see what they're going to do with the Immortal Mask. They might just add it as an infamous mask drop potentially, or release it with the Python Armor if Crime Spree comes out. It's a really difficult one, but I just thought I'd put that out there because the armor and the mask are quite cool, and I'd like to see those in the game. But other than that, that rounds off Spring Break 2018. A lot of cosmetic things that were added. There were a few dog masks as well, but I don't really care too much about those. I'm sure you guys aren't too bothered, but, you know, there's quite a lot of cosmetic things added here, and a couple of heists, which would be quite interesting, and overall, a lot of things to go for if you want to go for Paydays, getting the new materials and colors, and, you know, messing around with masks, see what they look like. Really interesting for you. If you love lore, you've got Breaking Feds and Henry's Rock to have a go at. There's all sorts of stuff to look forward to in that DLC, so that's something to point out. But other than that, for DLC in 2018, there were a few other things. First off, the difficulty rebalance. Now, we've got that. Specialized killing being removed and a few skills being moved around and grace being added, as well as 1 down becoming death sentence, 1 down being its own modifier, and enemy health getting messed around with to make basically death sentence a lot easier than 1 down was. Basically, that's all been added. So that came in the most recent update alongside the DLC that we got. So that is already out of the question. That's already sorted. But beyond that, there isn't much else for Payday 2 on PC at all. The only other things that we have as exceptions are the enemy overhaul, which just kind of changed how a lot of their appearances look. Some different types of enemies had shoulder pads removed and a bit of color schemes changed, which, yeah, sure, it's quite cool, but I'm pretty sure most people don't care. But, I mean, for me, the thing I do like is they've added back the Zeal Cloaker skin. They removed it on PC because they had some issues with it, and console still had it. It was literally removed in this update just gone. So for basically on death sentence difficulty, the Zeal Cloakers had this special look, basically. I really like the way it looked. I thought it looked a lot better than the standard cloaker, but that's just been added back to PC alongside as the old taser look, so that's something else for death sentence tasers, so hopefully those two will be added as well. Just a quality of life thing that I'm kind of interested in. I don't think they've done a death sentence medic, though. Not quite sure why they haven't done that, but who knows, maybe eventually that'll get added. I suppose it explains why they added the medic after one down in Crime Spree 2016, because they didn't have an outfit for the medic for death sentence, so that makes sense in terms of logic there. But other than that, the only other thing that's been added was yesterday's flamethrower update, which was the MA17 flamethrower. It's a secondary flamethrower compared to the primary of the standard one that we have, which is now called the flamethrower Mark 1, I'm pretty sure. This one looks quite good, but the thing to note is that they've actually overhauled the way the flamethrowers work. So for the base flamethrower, they've halved the damage, they've tripled the ammo capacity and the mag capacity and messed around with it. So basically the goal was that you were able to just hold down the fire button rather than keep tapping it. I mean, for me, I held it down a lot anyway. I did tap fire a little bit, but I held it down a lot regardless. It didn't bother me too much, but that'd be quite cool. I have heard from PC players that they're still tap firing. They haven't really felt like it's addressed the issue, so, you know, not really a lot to say on that front, but a new flamethrower would be quite cool, so that's just something else to note. But that sums up all of 2018's DLC as far as I know. I took notes on everything that was worth mentioning, so if I have missed anything out in these notes, please do let me know in the comments, but chances are if I have missed something out, it's probably so insignificant that it doesn't really matter too much. But that sums up 2018's DLC, and as a result, that's all the DLC to talk about. So there's a few things still to be added, a few heists here and there that were missing, 2 characters, a bunch of weapons, akimbo weapons and things like that, but overall there isn't a great deal left to add. So now let's talk a little bit more about when the update will come and what will be in it, and go off the assumptions that Goris has put in the past about the second half of this dual update for consoles. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware of this situation, know what the situation is with Goris and all the Steam posts and everything, but for those of you who don't know the situation and are new to the channel perhaps, Goris is one of the developers at the Overkill team in charge of the console development, basically for Xbox One, PS4, and presumably Switch, but he doesn't say much about that, but regardless, PS4 and Xbox One. And he uses a Steam thread to basically post loads of stuff about what's going on with the console update, where they're up to, when things will be coming, what will be happening, and gives us any information possible that we can then use, that I can make into a video for you guys to show you, and just to give any information to console players in general. Now, I've done videos on his Steam post repeatedly in the past. Every time he's put something up that's worthy of a video, I've done it. And the current consensus is that they were going to do a huge update that will be the biggest one yet, but they decided to split it into 2 parts instead. The first part of which we saw a couple of weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago today it will be actually. So that's the first part done. But what Goris has said going forward is that the second part is going to be a lot better. There's going to be a lot more to it. There's going to be a lot more to, you know, keep your interest involved, and a lot more to just kind of talk about in general. Now, as a result, we've got to try and sit here and think, well, how is this update going to be better? Now, you could just say, well, maybe they'll add a couple more heists and, you know, have 2 characters with H3 rather than Duke, and that's, in inverted commas, better than the last update. But I think they're going to be aiming a little bit higher for this one. The way he's hyping it up as if it's going to be the best update we've ever had, that's quite some big shoes to fill compared to the Big Score DLC, which had 10 premium DLCs, and then both Most Wanted and Master Plan, which had 6 DLCs in themselves, and free content added alongside that. It's quite a big thing to say it's going to be the biggest update yet, so I think maybe compared to Big Score it won't be, but it's still something to note in terms of how much they're going to add. So let's just backtrack a little bit and look at what we're missing. So 4 key features that I talked about: the Safe House, Crime Spree, Team AI, and Safes and Skins. 4 things that we really need. Now, in one of his previous posts, Goris said that Safe Houses and Safes and Skins, and I quote, aren't coming anytime soon. Now, he did say that a couple months ago, so you could think, well, maybe they'll come in the next update. I personally think they'll be in whatever the next update is after this one. I don't think they'll be in this one. I think they'll be in the following update. But I do believe, and I sincerely hope, and I'm going to be really upset if it's not, that Crime Spree and Team AI will both have to be in this next update. If it's going to be as big as he's hyping it up, they've both got to be there, because they're 2 of the biggest things people want. The thing with the Safe House is that it's all well and good that, you know, you can customize it and all that, but in terms of what I've heard from console players, the Safe House is the thing people want the least, because it's poorly optimized on PC from what people are saying. It'd be an absolute mess to handle on console, and in terms of replayability, there isn't really a lot to do on that compared to Crime Spree and the AI boost that you get. And even beyond that, Safes and Skins, there are benefits to Safes and Skins that go beyond the whole Safe House situation. So the Safe House not being in there, I'm sure most of you won't care about too much. I'd like it, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it not being there. But Safes and Skins, I would like to see. Now, I did a video a year ago, roughly, I can't quite remember to be honest, but those of you guys who saw it will remember. I talked about this whole black market update, and I said in that video that I didn't think Safes and Skins would be coming over. If you want to go and check that video out, I'll leave a link to it in the description, and I'll try and leave a link in the top right corner of the video, but I might forget because my memory is awful. However, Goris saying that they won't coming anytime soon, and talking about that Safes and Skins are still something they're talking about to try and port over, you know, gives you a bit of hope. but I do think that alongside the safe house won't be in this update. However, Crime Spree and Team AI, if you don't know what they are, Crime Spree is basically a game mode where you chain heists together. You don't get any rewards until you finish, but the more heists you chain together, the better the rewards are, basically. There's much more detailed explanations out there if you want to go check it out, but basically it's a really, really new, fresh way to play Payday heists. And the thing with me with Payday 2 at the minute is that I get bored of the game when I have to pick the heists every time. I like just joining random heists at the minute and just being thrown a heist at me and saying, you have to do this one. And I'm like, okay, let's do that. But when the agency and the choice is taken out of my hands, I enjoy it a lot more. So Crime Spree will do that for me. It gives you 3 heists. It says, pick one out of these 3, go for it. And usually there'll probably be like one that I have to go for, that I want to go for. So it'll be really good. And then chain the rewards together in the armor skins that will be added. So basically your tactical vest, your improved combined tactical vests, anything along those lines. Get different paint jobs, like a police paint job or different colors. There's some really cool stuff there. I mean, obviously it's not really life or death, but something cool to add. And other than that, they rely off continental coins, which is the whole coin system that you gain from getting XP. And I'm not sure about money, but it's definitely from getting 1,000,000 XP, you'll get a coin. So you use those to stack up and buy different boosts for the heist you play in Crime Spree, and you can get coins back and all sorts like that. It plays out a bit like an arcade machine, but it's really good fun. And then coins are also used in Team AI, which is an update that lets you have 3 AI teammates rather than 2, and they can give you boosts which are active and passive, such as you having a faster interaction speed for each AI present, or you being able to have AI inspire you, and it happens more often for every AI present. All sorts of stuff like that, and they cost continental coins as well. Something else to keep in mind, but it's really handy, especially for stealth, because if you have 3 AI in there and you have the interaction speed boost, you interact with everything 75% faster. So stuff that would take years to hack or open up or lockpick or whatever will happen really fast. Helps with speed runs, helps with all sorts of stuff like that. So something that people really want, and hopefully something that we'll see very soon. So as I've said, Crime Spree and Team AI, I see them both coming in this next update. Now let's talk about DLC, because what my attitude was going forward was that the next update was going to include everything coming to the end of 2017 in content. So I thought the next update would have Diamond Heist, Reservoir Dogs, and Brooklyn Bank as well. So to start off with, we're definitely going to get the stuff we're missing from 2017. So the Diamond Heist, Reservoir Dogs, and Brooklyn Bank, it makes sense they will have to be in the next update alongside the World War II weapon pack. H3H3 it's a grey area. They could put that over, they might not. It's not something everybody wants. It's something that some people are excited for and some people aren't. But it would make sense to round off all of 2017's DLC to start with before moving on to 2018. I mean, they're already out of sync now by putting the difficulty rebalance in that was from 2018 without addressing the DLCs and stuff that we're missing from 2017. So it's a bit of a mess. So I would imagine they will close off all of 2017's DLC and throw H3H3 in as well. Again, the only paid DLC, everything else is free from 17 and 18, so worth noting and worth reminding. But I see all of that coming over in the update alongside Crime Spree and Team AI. Beyond that, there isn't really a lot to add with Breaking Feds and Henry's Rock and any of the cosmetic stuff like Akimbo weapons. It makes sense they could also put those in. And if they manage to get us completely up to date with PC, that will be a miracle, okay? Like, even if they don't have the safe house and safes and skins, we're pretty much up to date with PC then. Whatever they put in here, we're going to be really, really close, the closest we've ever been to PC's updates, because PC just isn't getting that much attention anymore. PC players keep saying that PC's the master race and console players are leagues behind, but it isn't quite true anymore. PC really isn't getting that much attention, so it gives us a chance to catch up. So if they really want to make this the best update ever, I would say add everything we're missing from Spring Break 18, from Crime Fest 2017, as well as the Reservoir Dogs heist, Brooklyn Bank, H3H3, World War II weapon pack, throw everything in, and then sprinkle Crime Spree and Team AI in there, and that is the perfect update. That would do me for ages, it would do everyone else for ages, there'd be plenty to go out in there, and it would just make sense, it'd be something to keep going at and keep coming back to the game to play. So there's only one more question, that's when will the update drop? Now, it's going to be more difficult to talk about this because it's going to be a bigger update, and the updates have decreased in size as time's gone by. I mean, February's update was the whole LMG buff and mainly quality of life changes here and there, but this one added a bit more content, and that took 5 months to port over. Now, what I would like to say right here and now is that we'll get it by the end of the year. And even then, that sounds like I'm putting it off by a long stretch, but it's very difficult because you would think that everything that was ready would be put in July's update, and so everything else I've talked about clearly isn't ready yet, otherwise they'd have put it in part 1, or you might say some of it's being saved for the bigger DLC and they've actually held on to stuff that's ready. Very hard to tell because, again, as I say, Overkill don't share too much details with that. Goris has said in the past that they can't really go into too much because it would be too technical, and I do understand that. What I've said previously can discount that because obviously there are some things we won't understand and some things we won't really be able to understand when they explain. But regardless, it would make sense for the update to come out by the end of this year. I'm expecting in the next 5 or so months, which would take us to December. So I'm hoping it's going to be a December update. That's my plan, and that way we've had 2 big content updates this year for console, or at least somewhat size. I mean, the last one wasn't big, it was just average size, but you get what I'm trying to say there. And then overall 3 kind of overall updates, because we also had February's quality of life changes, so it would make sense. So, as far as I'm concerned, if we hear news about the update, hopefully it's going to be that it's coming inside of 2018. Because by that point, we'll get to an area where literally we're going to be so close behind PC that my dream goal of seeing even the last DLC, if not a few of them, being released at the same time as PC and console, that might not be as far-fetched as you might think. It might still not happen. I mean, if PC are taking ages to put updates out, they could just get it worked on consoles at the same time and port them both over. Even if at launch, there's a few bugs here and there, PC, they can address it super fast. Even if for consoles, it takes a bit longer. To have it so they both drop at the same time would be remarkable. It would be really good. So that's something I'd like to see. But that predicts it. So everything up to the end of 2017, including Crime Spree and Team AI, and hopefully some stuff from 2018, and then Safe House and Safes and Skins possibly sometime later. That's my prediction, and I'm saying inside of 2018, but that sums up this video. So, now I want to have a discussion with you guys down in the comment section below. I want to know what you think about what I've predicted here, what you think of the good things, bad things about it. Do you think I'm being too optimistic or too pessimistic? How much do you think will be added in the next update, and when do you think we'll see it? As always, if Goris posts something in the Steam thread, I will do a video on it, I'll address the issues and cover it in its own video, but that sums up this video. So if you have enjoyed it, please do give it a thumbs up. As always, very much appreciated. Share it round for anyone who's wondering about what's going on with the next Payday 2 DLC. Other than that, I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take it easy.
It's midnight and the speakers are blowing. Yeah, we want the bodies on the billboards, not the lives underneath them.